Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about embarrassment. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, hi Frederick, how to get over feeling embarrassed for not being able to complete tasks, etc. at work, and how to get over the fear of being let go. Well, so this is where we need to have a serious talk, you and me, and basically the thing that I suggest that you do is to first and foremost do a little bit of soul searching and ask yourself how much time you spend with your own fear and your own thoughts, and do you have a hard time focusing on something other than your insecurity, or maybe you are overwhelmed with a lot of negative thoughts, things of this nature, where it's hard for you to sort of get out of your own head and do something that is not affecting you in a negative way. Because if you're on that sort of spiral, I very much suggest to you that you seek medical assistance, like you talk to a doctor or something like that, because you might have depressions or anxieties or things like that. And because some things, guys, are like, some people are more sensitive to stress and to negative thinking and so forth than other people, and it can help you a lot if you get some help, if you ask to talk to somebody. I've done it. I know people that I have people that I know that has done it, and it's at least something you should consider first and foremost. That's not the whole story, but it is something that will make this a little bit easier for you. Because the only thing I can tell you is that there is not much you can do about how you feel. The thing that I have done that sort of made me at least get through it, if that makes sense. This is one of those situations where there's only degrees of suckiness. There's only degrees of hell, or like rings of hell here. You can't not feel pain and punishment and anxiety over this thing, most likely. There's a very nice little cartoon where you see a little wolf who has a bunch of arrows in the back, and then there's a bigger version of the wolf who has the same amount of arrows, and the saying goes basically that life didn't, I think something along the lines that things didn't get easier, I just got tougher, or like I could deal with more. And that's basically what I'm saying to you. The reason why, say, myself and more, and trust me, I'm not the most sturdy developer in the world. I feel tons of anxiety if I feel like things are not going so well or things like that. But the way to handle it better is to increase your skills and feel more comfortable with failing. And that's the tricky part. In the beginning, you can't really draw much strength from the thing that most people draw strength from. And most people draw strength from comparing themselves to something else, to feel like they feel confidence because they know that they're good at something, or they have something, or so forth and so forth. And in this scenario, being scared that you're not very good at your job and so forth, there's really only one cure for that, in my opinion at the very least, and that is to be good at your job. That's the cure. So if you're practicing, you're truly applying yourself and really pushing it and giving it your all, then you're doing the things that you should be doing to feel better about yourself. And then this is in some cases, a little bit of the sad thing. Sometimes you need to be fired or lose a job or things like that, and go through, by exposure basically, how it feels to not be good enough. I know that was something that I'm still, guys, it's hands down one of the worst things in my life. The thing that makes me feel absolutely the worst is when I feel like I've let people down, or that I'm not good enough or something like that. And it's not something that I expect is ever going to be fully handled on my part, but it is something that I have gotten better at dealing with. And as I said, I have gotten help for that. And I think that you should too, at least consider it, because you can get fired for anything. Remember that. You can be fired because you're slow. You can be laid off because you're the weakest of all. They would, like nowadays, it's tons of layoffs and so forth and so forth. There are many reasons why you can get fired. You can get trust me, guys. It's not just about being skilled. Sometimes you might get fired just because they don't like your personality or things like that. And it always, it It's not fun, of course, but it's not going to kill you. Definitely not. The only thing that you really have to sort of get into terms with, in my opinion at the very least, is to have that, as I've said a few times before, this is my way of looking at it, you only ever have two options. You can sit down and wait for something to happen, or you can move and go and do something to see if you can change your situation. And my suggestion to you is to continue your education, learn as much as possible of the things that are necessary for you to do well as a software developer, and that's sort of what we're all talking about here on my little channel, right? I'm trying to give you a hint as to what things to look at, what makes you a well-rounded software developer, how to think, what tools to sort of focus on, and things like that, because there are, you know, things that are more relevant and things that are less relevant, and if you focus and practice on using these things, then you will, I can basically promise you that. Well, I'm not going to promise you, but I hope at the very least that that's what's going to happen for you. You're going to see an increase in confidence because you see that the things that you know and understand are things that are relevant to your survival in a company or in this industry, and so forth and so forth. And that should help you mitigate some of the fear. But it's also, as I said, a little bit healthy sometimes to actually be exposed to a few of those scenarios where it really feels like this is the end of the world type of things, and see that actually you made it through. It was not nice, it was like walking through pig shit or like something like that. It's not, you don't feel good about it perhaps, but after a little while the pain goes away and you realize that, yeah, actually I could deal with this situation even though it was not pleasant. So what I want you to take away from this is that I suggest to you that if you have a fair amount of negative thinking and you have hard time getting out of your own head and so forth, seek help. There are medical professionals, and sometimes you can suffer from things without really knowing that there are all options out there. There's tons of amazing people in the medical field. I have nothing but respect for everybody who works in medicine, and they will help you cope with these sorts of things. So don't suffer unnecessarily if there is some way for you to talk to somebody. And then the second thing is to understand that the only thing that's going to make the anxieties and the fear to go away is exposure, basically. So by continuing your education, trying to be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be, building up that strength that the personal strength that I am such a fan of, and sometimes having to go through some stuff that is unpleasant and realize that you're just scared. That's all it is. The only thing that really matters is that, like, when it's the classic, right? You fall down, you get up again. The getting up and walking, not sitting down and not doing anything, that's the stagnation thing that I mentioned. If you can just make sure that when something doesn't go your way, you have the strength to continue, that will hopefully, because once you have some distance from that thing and you in hindsight look back at it, hopefully you will see the thing that I've usually seen when that's happened to me. It sucked like hell when it was going on. But now, later on, I realized that I did learn a few things and I did survive, and that also helps you build up that confidence. That's just how I usually deal with my problems. Have a great day.